Plant FAQs, Magnolia N. I've had Magnolia N in my garden for a few years now, and I love how its deep purple blooms stand out beautifully in early spring. On the other hand, I planted a Jane Magnolia last year, and its smaller, more delicate pink flowers have a charm that's hard to resist. And Magnolia has a more vigorous growth habit, which is great if you're looking for a statement tree, while Jane Magnolia's compact size makes it perfect for smaller spaces. Both are stunning, but if I had to choose, and Magnolia wins for its dramatic color and size. How big does an Magnolia get? And Magnolia trees can grow up to about 10 to 15 feet tall and wide. I planted one in my garden a few years ago, and it's now reached around 8 feet in height. It's a lovely size for smaller yards or as a focal point in a garden bed. How fast do Magnolia trees grow? And Magnolia trees grow moderately fast, but they're not as rapid as some other types of trees. When I first planted mine, it took a couple of years to establish itself and start putting on noticeable growth. Now, it adds a few inches each year, which I find is a nice pace for maintaining its shape and health without overwhelming the space. How to plant an Magnolia tree? Planting an Magnolia tree is fairly straightforward, but it's important to choose a good location. I planted mine in well-draining soil with plenty of sunlight, and it's thrived there. Dig a hole about twice the width of the root ball, place the tree in, and backfill with soil, making sure the top of the root ball is level with the ground. Is an Magnolia evergreen? And Magnolia trees are not evergreen. They're deciduous like most magnolias. This means they lose their leaves in the winter, which can create a beautiful effect with the bare branches against the sky, especially if you have snow. When does an Magnolia bloom? And Magnolia typically blooms in early spring, around March or April, depending on your climate. I always look forward to the burst of color it brings to my garden after the long winter months. When to plant an Magnolia tree? The best time to plant an Magnolia tree is in the fall or early spring when the weather is cool and the tree is dormant. I planted mine in the spring, and it seemed to establish itself well before the summer heat set in. Where to buy an Magnolia tree? You can buy an Magnolia trees at many nurseries and garden centers, both in person and online. I got mine from a local nursery because I like to see the tree in person before I buy it, but there are plenty of reputable online retailers as well. Are Magnolia flowers poisonous to dogs? I've read that Magnolia flowers are not toxic to dogs, but it's always a good idea to supervise your pets around any plants and make sure they don't ingest anything harmful. I have a dog, and she's never shown any interest in the Magnolia flowers, but every pet is different. Are Magnolia hybrids? And Magnolias are not hybrids themselves, but there are hybrids that incorporate Magnolia genetics. These hybrids can have a range of flower colors, not just pink, depending on the other parent plants involved. Are Magnolias always pink? Can Magnolia hybrids turn white? While Magnolia flowers are typically pink, there are some hybrids that can produce white or lighter colored blooms. These hybrids often result from crossbreeding with other Magnolia varieties, introducing different genetic traits into the mix. Can you propagate Magnolia? Yes, you can propagate Magnolia through methods like cuttings or grafting. I haven't personally tried propagating mine, but I've heard it can be done successfully with the right techniques and patience. It might be a fun project to try in the future,